Alrighty, guys, let's go over this NFL slate that is tomorrow. I mean, listen, I thought last week was the worst slate I've ever played in my entire life, but I think this, I think this slate might honestly be worse. I really think it might be worse. Now, sorry if that made a noise. I was drinking some orange juice, but I think this slate might honestly be worse. I really, really do. Um, This slate is just terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. I'd go small in it, personally. I think it's a good GPP slate, but I don't know. I'd go small in it. But taking a look at my cash lineup last week, as you guys know, I put most of my volume in cash. I am. Let's see, how many weeks did I miss in the hospital? I think I missed 3 weeks in the hospital. Week 11, I am 8-1 on the year in cash games. And that one loss I didn't not cash. I won half my buy-ins back. So we'll say 8-0-1. How about that? I think that's pretty good to say. So cash is my specialty for NFL. This week I went Justin Fields, Tony Pollard, Alvin Kamara, Tyreek Hill, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Greg Dulcich, Foster Moreau. Got into the cash at the last minute, thankfully, because of the GOAT, Tony Pollard. Thank you, my man. I appreciate it. But yeah, it was a really good week last week. I haven't had a losing NFL day yet, so let's hope to continue that for tomorrow. Maybe I just need to switch to NFL over NBA because NBA has been rough the past couple days. But we'll go over cash games. We will go over we'll go over some stacks I like. We'll go over some GPP plays that I like. So we're not going to go over everyone. We're not going to go over all the teams, but we'll go over some GPP plays. We'll go over some stacks. We'll obviously go over cash games. The video is not going to be as long as it normally would before I went into the hospital. I have to make a lot of content today, so not going to be an insanely long video. But first, let's get into business. We'll go over cash games first. Obviously, that is what I focus on the most, and most importantly, I think it's what you guys should focus on the most as well. I think it's a great way to build a bankroll. I think the edge is still definitely there. And personally, yeah, I personally think it's a good way to make money, and I really suggest you guys play cash games. I really do. I am personally 80% cash, 20% GPPs, so that's why it's been an insanely profitable NFL season so far. But we'll go over cash games real quick. So for quarterback, Josh Allen is your cash quarterback this week. I mean, I don't think there's much else to say. He threw the ball 43 times last week coming back from that right elbow injury. So he seems fine to me. Obviously, it's Stephon Diggs. You know, I like the matchup against Cleveland. I think right now, as it stands, Josh Allen is your cash quarterback this week. Now, I think Justin Fields and Daniel Jones are definitely in play for cash, especially Daniel Jones in this matchup, and Justin Fields in this matchup. This is one of the highest totals on the slate. One of the higher implied team totals as well. So I don't think Josh Allen's a lock for cash, but he is definitely my favorite cash quarterback on the slate. I think Justin Fields, obviously, and I think Daniel Jones are definitely firmly in play for cash games as well. I think both will definitely get ownership too. Excuse me, guys. So, if I had to rank them, probably would I don't know if I go to Daniel Jones. I think going Fields over Allen gives you enough savings. I think $1,000 is enough on this slate to the point where I think that'll be enough to get you what you want. So I'd probably lean Josh Allen or Justin Fields. Right now, I'm leaning Josh Allen, like I said, as my cash quarterback this week. And I think there is enough value to get him in. I think there are plays in the mid-range that you can definitely get him in as well, especially at wide receiver. So on to running back. I really like Saquon Barkley in this matchup up against Detroit. We'd like to stream running backs. We'd like to stream anyone against Detroit, basically. They've been a fantasy carnival this year. If you can fit him Absolutely love Saquon Barkley. I think he makes for a very, very good cash game play. Not going to get to Chubb, not going to get to Cook. I think Jonathan Taylor is definitely into consideration for cash, but I'm not going to be going out of my way and doing that. I think at that point you just pay up for Saquon Barkley, personally. But I think Taylor is definitely into consideration. I think Josh Jacobs is into consideration, but once again, if you're paying this much, you might as well just go up to Saquon Barkley. I think Mixon is in consideration as well, but I don't love it. Anyone who I say is into consideration is a guy that I'm considering, but I'm probably not going to play. I think Ramondre Stevenson is a pretty good cash game play. Now, the Jets have a good defense, but even with Harris back, Stevenson has been the go-to guy for the Patriots. The usage is there. The volume is there. The targets are there. So that's what we'd love to see. I think Stevenson is definitely a pretty good cash game play. I think Dameon Pierce up against Washington is a pretty good cash game play as well. Volume is there. That's all we care about. We only care about floor. We do care about ceiling, but we mostly care about floor in cash games. Dameon Pierce has that floor. Now, if I had to pick between Dameon Pierce and Ramondre Stevenson, it's tough. It's tough. Maybe ask me tomorrow. If you have that question, maybe ask me tomorrow. I might prefer Pierce, but maybe ask me that question tomorrow. I do believe Zeke is going to be back, so you can't get to Pollard. Not going to get to CPAT and Cash. The most popular running back I do believe is going to be David Montgomery at 6.1K. Highest and one of the highest totals on the slate. Atlanta is a good spot for him. Just expectation of 20 plus touches. I think David Montgomery looks great for cash games. I think his floor is just extremely, extremely high this week. I have to cough. I'm so sorry about that, guys. So, like David Montgomery, I think he's one of the better running back cash game plays. Outside of that, I don't know if I'm getting to anyone else for cash games. It's I'd really go, the lowest I'd go is probably David Montgomery. Honestly, I think. Or sorry, I mean Dameon Pierce. Right? Yeah, lowest I no. Dave Montgomery would probably be the lowest I go. I wouldn't go to Foreman and Cash. He's too game script dependent. Baltimore's favorites, so I wouldn't do that. Wouldn't go to Singletary. Can't go to Harris. Gibson is way too fringe. I love the matchup, but I think that's way too fringe. Same with Robinson, just way too fringe for me. And yeah, I think the lowest I'd go is honestly 6,100 for David Montgomery. So maybe just have like a player pool with the running backs that we went over, and just put that in your player pool, and then mess with builds, see what you like the most. So for wide receiver, if you're paying up, it's just going to be Stephon Diggs. You know, just insane usage. Josh Allen seems to be healthy. Not much to say here. Just love Diggs if you're paying up. CeeDee Lamb is going to be extremely popular. Amon-Ra St. Brown. These two guys I absolutely love for cash games as well. I think getting like Diggs and one of these guys is definitely smart. I don't know if you'll be able to do it. I haven't really messed with builds yet, but Diggs, CeeDee, Amon-Ra St. Brown, three of my favorite cash game plays this week. Going down a little bit more, there is Terry McLaurin at 5.9K, who's going to be popular in a favorable matchup up against Houston. Listen, with Taylor Heinicke as the quarterback, his target market share is just going to go up. I don't know what Carson Wentz was doing, but with Taylor Heinicke, he actually knows what he's doing. 9 targets, 11 targets, past 20 targets past 2 weeks. 5.9K is just too cheap. Now you consider the matchup. I think Terry McLaurin is a very strong cash game play. Not going to get Deontay in cash, which is sad. Last year he was an absolute smash every week for cash games. Going down a little bit further, Garrett Wilson I think is a very, very strong cash game play. Let's go to the Jets. Where are the Jets? With no Corey Davis, Garrett Wilson is just going to be the clear-cut number one guy here. I'm probably expecting A-plus targets. At 4.9K, it's just way too cheap. I think Garrett Wilson is definitely a very, very strong cash game play. Going, where was Garrett Wilson? Going down a little bit further. Donovan Peoples-Jones is definitely in play, but not as much in play as he was last week. Paris Campbell, I think, is one of the best value plays on the slate. Going to be extremely popular for cash games. I mean, let's go to Indianapolis real quick. Where is Indy? I think with just how things have gone for him, it's just the targets, like target and usage is there. Obviously, Philly is a good defense, but I think the price tag is just way too cheap. And with all of the, let's go to Paris. So let me explain. Let's go to 4.3K. With all of these wide receivers getting priced up, like as you can see, like these Jarvis Landry 4.5K, Van Jefferson 4.5K, you have Claypool 4.8K, you have Slayton 5K, you have Duvernay 5K, you have Gallup 5.1K, you have Dotson 4.4, you have McKenzie 4.4K. You have guys that in the past should be like 3 to 3.5K, now priced up to like 4.5 to 5K. Every one of the value wide receivers are just way overpriced. So whenever you're going to get a guy like Donovan Peoples-Jones or Paris Campbell that's going to get this volume, especially with Matt Ryan, it's going to be a smash. So right now, Paris Campbell is projecting as probably the best value play on the slate. I definitely do agree with it. So love Paris Campbell for cash games. There is more value, though. I think Nico Collins at 4.1K is definitely a pretty good value. And then there is another value, Ben Skoranek at 3.9K. Let's go over to... where are the Rams? So with Cooper Kupp on IR, Ben Skoranek's going to get slide into that role. Had 7 targets week 10. Just too cheap at 3.9K. So we do have good value on the slate. If I had to rank them, I don't know if I could. I'd probably throw Paris 1, Ben Skoranek 2, Nico Collins 3. But I think all 3 look really, really good for cash games. So I just build your player pool around that. I think that's smart. For tight end. So there are a few guys that I'm considering. And I am highly, highly considering double tight end in cash once again this week. I think double tight end is a very good way to go this week. I don't know if I'll be doing it, but we'll see. I think Dalton Schultz makes for a very good play. Just with Dak Prescott back in the offense, 7 targets, 8 targets. Just we've seen in the past, Dak Prescott likes to target Dalton Schultz way more than Cooper Rush did. So I think Dalton Schultz makes for a pretty good cash game play. Not going to get to Higbee, not going to get to Kmet. I think Greg Dulcich at 3.8K is fine, but Russell Wilson has just been god awful. Hayden Hurst at 3.5K is popping. I think he's a solid play as well. And then Dawson Knox at 3.2K I think is a pretty good cash game play as well. So those are the tight ends that I would definitely consider, and I think double tight end is firmly in play for cash games this week. So going over stacks, I mean, the clear stack this week is just going to be Dallas and Minnesota. Just one of the higher team totals on the slate. I think the stacking this week is just absolutely terrible with the pricing. With the pricing getting so tight, it's entirely too hard to stack correctly and stack properly. So you can break rules, but this is the stack that I think makes the most sense this week. I think Dak Prescott 6.6K is too cheap. Not going to go to Zeke in my Dak Prescott double stacks. And then CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup. These would be the 2 guys that I would consider with Dak Prescott, with Dalton Schultz. I would only bring I would probably go like CeeDee Lamb, Dalton Schultz, probably my favorite. But with Dak Prescott back, the usage for CeeDee Lamb is just absolutely insane. The usage for Dalton Schultz is just insanely good as well. We've seen that be the case the past few weeks with Dak Prescott back. So I absolutely love this stack. I think this game has shootout potential. One of the few games on the slate that has shootout potential, in my opinion. So CeeDee Lamb obviously is a very, very strong cash game play. Michael Gallup I think is a fine option, but I think he's a little bit overpriced. I'd prefer Dalton Schultz. And yeah, I think this is one of my favorite stacks of the week. And then my second favorite is probably going to be the Minnesota side of things. I think Kirk Cousins at 6.1K is a strong play. I think not going to include Dalvin Cook, but Justin Jefferson has been absolutely phenomenal this year. I don't expect his usage to change pretty much at all. I'm expecting him to average over 10 targets in this game. I'm also expecting his touchdown upside to go up. He's not going to continue to only average 5 touchdowns through 11 weeks. That's going to go up. I think in the second half of the season, he's probably going to get 8 or 9 touchdowns. So I think his ceiling is definitely going to be extremely, extremely higher the second half of the year. And I think his floor is just always high with the targets. So absolutely love that double stack. I don't know if I'd play Thielen with him. I think that takes up a little bit too much salary, but good to see with Hawk on this team that Thielen's getting 7 targets still. So I think Thielen's a safe play, but I don't really think he has too much upside. More often than not, he's not going to get into the end zone. And then if you're an absolute sicko and you're crazy, you can definitely consider KJ Osborne. But preferably, I'd go TJ Hawkinson and Justin Jefferson. This would be my favorite double for Kirk Cousins. But you can do anything you want this week. You don't have to double stack. You don't even have to. I mean, I'd stack, but you don't have to double stack these quarterbacks. You can definitely do whatever you want this week with how bad the slate is and how bad the pricing is. The second stacks that the second favorite game that I would like is the Chicago Atlanta game. One of the higher totals on the slate as well. Justin Fields has been absolutely phenomenal this year. Now, they're not throwing the ball as much. They are throwing the ball more than they were in the beginning of the season, which is definitely good to see. But look at these rushing attempts. 12, 14, 8, 15, 13 in this past 5 games. He has big playability, just a freak athlete. I don't see Atlanta being able to stop him on the ground here. So you could basically play Justin Fields as pretty much a running back here. I probably wouldn't even stack Justin Fields, but I will say Darnell Mooney is going extremely, extremely low owned on this slate. So if you were to play Justin Fields with anyone, it would be Darnell Mooney for me. I will not be chasing this Cole Kmet game. I'll let the fish do that, especially at an elevated price tag. But yeah, you can either play Justin Fields by himself, or you can play him with Darnell Mooney, who's going to be under 5% owned. Personally, I'd probably play Justin Fields by himself. He's basically a running back. You don't need to stack him with anyone. And then what I would do is I would bring this Atlanta game in, and personally, I would go like Justin Fields by himself, and you could even do like a CPAT and like a Pitts pairing, or like a CPAT London Zakai's pairing. I wouldn't play 3, but I'd pick like here. I'd pick 2 of these 4. So you could do like a Justin Fields with a double bring back. I honestly don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. But if I were playing Justin Fields, I would definitely bring it back with somebody in this game, whether that be London, Zacchaeus, Kyle Pitts, Cordell Patterson is going extremely under owned this week. So I think Justin Fields looks great, and I think Marcus Mariota is a fine play, but I definitely do prefer going to Justin Fields and then bringing it back with someone on the Atlanta side of things. Another stack that I am interested in is going to be, where is it? This game, Daniel Jones. I don't mind. I think 5.7K is pushing it a little bit, but I love the spot here. Gonna get you off Saquon Barkley. Did I just say Saquon Barkley? It's gonna get you off Saquon Barkley chalk. You have leverage on the field. The wide receiver situation is definitely disgusting. Same with the tight end situation. So honestly, it's going to be tough. I'd probably just go Slayton. You could single stack or double, but I think Daniel Jones definitely makes some sense for GPPs this week, getting off that Saquon Barkley stack. I love Amon-Ra St. Brown as a bring back too, so Amon-Ra St. Brown is one of my favorite players in the league, so love that as a bring back. Another stack that I like quite a bit is going to be obviously Josh Allen doubles. Just, play Josh Allen doubles, print money every week. I don't think I have to explain why. Not going to include the running backs in them, but I think I'm going to include Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, Dawson Knox. So playing Josh Allen doubles, I don't think this week you play Diggs and Gabe Davis together. I really don't. I think you either pick one of Diggs and Gabe Davis and then go with Dawson Knox. So right now we'll do Diggs, Dawson Knox. I don't think you play, like I said, I don't think you want to be playing Gabe Davis and Diggs together this week. I really, really don't. Gabe Davis is an elevated price tag. He has a low floor. The ceiling is there. He has just as high of a ceiling as Stephon Diggs does, but the floor is much, much lower. So I don't think I'd be playing both together at elevated price tags with how tight the pricing is this week. So like I said, I pick one and then go Dawson Knox as my second. But love Josh Allen stacks this week. I definitely rank Josh Allen stacks behind this Dallas Minnesota game though. We'll go over one more stack. What else do I like? I don't like Philly as much. They just run the ball a lot. Baltimore's huge favorites. Joe Burrow. Where's Joe Burrow? This game. So this will be the last stack that we'll go over that I think is viable for GPPs. I think Joe Burrow stacks are going to go extremely, extremely under-owned this week. Chase is out, so more usage for Higgins, more usage for Boyd, more usage for Hurst. I think Hurst is going to be extremely popular. Like I said, I probably wouldn't play Higgins and Boyd together at elevated price tags. I think Boyd is definitely a little bit pricey for me, so I'd go Higgins, Boyd, one of these two, and then one of Hurst. Same thing, pretty much the same thing with Josh Allen. So I'm fine with that. And if you want to bring it back with anyone, I think honestly my favorite play might be Najee Harris at sub 5% ownership. Honestly, I really do. So going over some standalone plays that I like quite a bit. Let me take a sip of orange juice. Excuse me. We already went over the stacks, so I'm not going to go over any quarterbacks. Running back, though. Love Barkley, like I said. Some GPP running backs that I do like. Alvin Kamara. Everyone's going to see the matchup up against the Rams. They're going to be scared. I am not worried about the matchup. I don't care. Everyone's worried about the usage. I think they figure it out here. I do like Kamara for GPPs. Jacobs is fine. Mixon is fine. Sanders is fine. Like Stevenson quite a bit. Cordell Patterson going extremely, extremely underowned. I think Atlanta is going to run the ball a ton in this game. I think the matchup up against Chicago is absolutely phenomenal for CPAT. I don't understand the ownership and why he's going so low owned. I absolutely love CPAT for GPPs. Obviously, Montgomery's a good play. Foreman, here's the thing. Carolina is like 9-point dogs. If that's off the top of my head, someone correct me if I'm wrong. If I knew the Panthers would, stay in this game and be up, I would like Foreman, but I'm not convinced that they will. And then one more running back that I do like for GPPs is going to be Antonio Gibson up against Houston, one of the best spots in the league. No McKissick, I believe, right? McKissick's still out, so yeah, Gibson's going to be involved in the passing game. Probably expecting a few attempts on the ground as well. Absolutely love Antonio Gibson for GPPs. I think he's a very good GPP running back. This week, I wanted to check something. Yeah, okay. On to wide receiver. So, love JJ for GPPs. I don't know how popular he's going to be. Diggs like AJ Brown going extremely underowned. I think he's a very strong GPP play. CD, Amon-Ra St. Brown, very strong cash game plays. Higgins, strong play. Chris Olave going under 5% owned, I do believe. I think he makes for a very strong GPP play as well. Tyler Boyd, overpriced for my liking. McLaurin, very strong play. I can't get to anyone with the quarterback name Russell Wilson behind them. Going down more, Darnell Mooney, like I said, I like him with Justin Fields. I don't think anyone's going to play Justin Fields and Mooney together. I think people are going to go Mooney by themselves. Washington players are fine. I'm not going to go out of my way to play him, but they're fine. Garrett Wilson, very strong cash game play. DPJ, fine GPP play. in consideration for cash games, but I do prefer Paris Campbell. And then that's it, really. I think Nico Collins, a very good play. Paris Campbell, one of the best value plays on the slate. Nico Collins, solid value. And then Ben Skoranek, I think is a very strong value as well. And then going over to tight end, like I said, everyone's going to live in this like 4K to 3.5K range. I just prefer the chalk tight ends this week. Hayden Hurst, Greg Dulcich, Dalton Schultz. Those are the tight ends that I definitely do prefer. TJ Hawkinson in these Dallas, Minnesota stacks. I do like. For defense, if you're playing cash, probably just the Steelers. Outside of that, not much else. So hope this video helped you guys, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.